Good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday, the 13th of February, 2026. And I'm in Minsk, Belarus, of course, you know. And the temperatures, wow, we got temperatures now in the plus. So I decided I tried to go jogging today, and I'm just slush all over the place and water. And yeah, and there is some ice still, so it wasn't so pleasant, but that's not about the news. What is the biggest news? Some of, the strangest news, I guess, the most interesting news that came out, I guess, is the Massa. The Massa from Israel came to see his number one colony based in Washington, D.C., to see the Governor Trump, and to see the legislature, the circus seals, I guess. So he went to the circus and and watched all the seals screaming and clapping and cheering him on, and all, barely could even talk to all of the minions because they were just too busy clapping and cheering, and they were all on their knees and salivating, making sure that they didn't salivate all over his shoes, and the floor was all wet because they were like butterballs, and it's pissing all over the floor in their joy and happiness, all over to see the Massa coming. Oh, it was quite a sight. I bet it's normally like that, I think. I don't know if the Massa, if he sees the Congress every time he comes, but it seems like it's every 8 weeks, apparently, since his number one favorite governor is now ruling the big colony overseas. As you all know, it is a colony, and there's no doubt about that. How many people do you need to hear saying who actually runs the world? I mean, is it the one that has the most and the most powerful military, or is it the one that controls all the strings, not the purse strings, controls all the strings of influence, and knows how to manipulate power even better than Donald Trump? Donald Trump can get power and manipulate power, but it makes you also wonder, well, why is it that this man that seemingly knows how to get power, and he wants the entire world to know that, and to get up and brag on how powerful he is, and that he's the greatest that has ever existed, how is it that somebody like that can get under the thumb and have his and have his family jewels being squeezed to do exactly what the Massa tells him to do? Somebody who maybe doesn't have so much money, I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows what old Bibi's bank account is filled with, and it's probably even more secretive than old Vladimir Zelensky's bank account. And everybody knows that is a big, thick, fat bank account. It doesn't matter what you look in Google and what this AI crap that's there to disinform all of the rest of us, what that says in there. When you knew the truth before they had AI, it's, one thing that is revealed. I guess their hand is revealed. I guess the cat is out of the bag. We know that it's all fake, that everything that they're putting in here is all fake stuff. It's fake on top of more fake. Just like, when Donald Trump just came out and said, well, we'll see what happens in the next month to see what I'm going to do with Iran. Yeah, the next month. Yeah, I think a month is going to be very short. It's similar to Iran is 2 weeks away or 2 months away from having a nuclear weapon. And that 2 months started, what is that, how many decades ago? And they still haven't got a nuclear weapon. But they're doing it. You know that. If Bibi says so, and they have the intelligence, they have intelligence meaning, I guess, spy agencies, but they don't have the other type of intelligence. Maybe they do. But putting the entire world at risk of a nuclear war, I don't know if that's intelligent or not. In my book, I guess that's not the truth. I don't know. And, we all know why they halted this bombing by old Donald. What was it? Was it supposed to be I keep thinking it was like the 14th of January. I don't know why I got that date in my head. I'm not quite exactly sure. But old Bibi realized he didn't have enough power yet. He didn't have enough air defense missiles and maybe even some attack missiles, and maybe he wants to get in on this. But you all know that he has got these Dolphin-class submarines that carry nuclear weapons, that he got them free, apparently, because if you don't give them to us, you're an anti-Semite, he said to Germany. So that Germany gave them these Dolphin-class nuclear-capable carrying Dolphin class submarines. I don't know how many they've got. They've got at least 2, but maybe they might have as many as 6 or 10 as far as I know. But shh, that's why you don't ever hear about them. You don't hear about those things. And there's a lot of things you don't hear about. Oh, gosh. But what they're going to do with those, I don't know. Are they going to come in? I've never seen them come into play. I guess they're trying to keep them very secret. I don't know if they've ever taken part in any of these attacks. But you would think you don't have to get even that close. I don't know. It's very strange. You would think that they would play an intricate part. And this might just be the time when they do that. And if you think it's going to be a month from now, well, what is that? About a 10% chance of that being true? I would say it's probably a little bit more imminent. I think it's a fake. Who is the understudy of the master of manipulation and deception? By way of deception, thou shalt create war, thou shalt do war, however you would translate that, the motto of the Mossad. But it's also the motto of a lot of people. I guess you could say Benjamin Netanyahu. You could say Donald Trump. Donald Trump is big into that as well. I don't know. A lot of people seem to be that way. Yeah. But let's get on with this. What's going on here? Bibi came and the entire freeway was shut down. They had more than 100 security cars all over on the freeway, in the back, in the front, on the side, up above, underneath. They had them all over the place. They're security people like you would never believe. When the emperor comes, I guess, that's incredible. The emperor needs some kind of a greeting like that. And not to mention all of the circus seals in the Congress salivating. I tell you what, it was a sad sight. It was a sad sight. It's always a sad sight. It really is a sad. I mean, who is the most powerful nation in the world? Well, I guess you know who that is, and it's not the United States. So when you see the circus seals coming out, I guess that means you can tell what the main act is. Boy, man, I don't know if they had their knee pads on when they got to their knees, all of the Congress. It's very sad. And I mean that truthfully. It's a very, very sad thing. And you have people, as you all saw, Ted Cruz, basically saying, you must be subservient to Israel. We must be subservient. They who bless Israel will be blessed. So Donald Trump does everything he can as well. That's why I'm saying that this is probably a fake. This is not going to be a month. This is going to be probably very soon. And Benji, what was the main reason? What was the main reason for Benji to go and see his number one governor? To see the governor and to find out, to see how ready both sides are, how much ammunition is there, how many airplanes. It's like they didn't go into all those details, but they were trying to find out, is it ready now? Is everything ready for the attack? Is Israel ready for the attack? Do they have all the defense missiles they need? Are they going to get more? And then, of course, all this days in the past days, they're talking about now that the USS George Bush carrier strike group with destroyers and everything it's right there in the area too, right, getting there near. They're not putting it right exactly there. They're putting it like a day out. And it left Norfolk, Virginia over a week ago. And the Atlantic is nothing like the Pacific. What is it? Not very far away. It's not that far away. It's very easy. I think it's a 2-week trip or something to get there from Norfolk, Virginia to Israel, or at least into the waters of where they can be within strike distance of Iran. I don't know. It's probably less than 2 weeks. It's not that far away. So, and I think it was, it left, when did it leave? Over a week ago. So it's basically right there. And its mission was supposed to be either towards Europe or towards, the Middle East. And we know now. I mean, why would they go to Europe? It makes you really wonder. It's pretty obvious. They're going to be over by the Middle East. And I still don't see any definite information that the Nimitz is really there. There's so much stuff in the internet. Like I said, it's the same lying AI-assisted Google, that tells you, Victoria Nuland never said anything about having 46 bio laboratories in Ukraine before the special military operation, and so much other stuff over and over again, things you've seen with your own eyes. Oh, no, that never happened. That never happened. No, it didn't happen. Go back to sleep. Oh, my God. Yeah. But anyway, Netanyahu, like I said, he was there to just check on Trump. It's pretty strange. They can do stuff by email. there's Skype, you could talk to people on WhatsApp over the telephones and think, oh, that's encrypted from end to end. Yeah. Well, now everybody's laughing about that it isn't encrypted at all. It's like, I got a cat scratching at the door. I got to do something about that. Hang on. Yes, cat. Anyway, I was going to almost forget to tell you there. I'm going to put a video down in the comments. It's going to be of Jackson Hinkle. He seems to be doing really well with a lot of this information about things what's concerning Iran. And I don't think he's going to be fooled either. He's like, 26 years old. And there's always a comparison between Jackson Hinkle and Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is 27 years old. He calls Jackson Hinkle, I think what does he call him? He calls him a pipsqueak or some kind of crap like that. And Jackson Hinkle's taller than Nick Fuentes, and he's of course far better built, but yet he calls Jackson Hinkle a pipsqueak. So he's been attacking Jackson Hinkle, and of course Jackson Hinkle is coming right back and putting it right back into him. And Nick Fuentes, I tell you, I don't know. If you watch both, watch Jackson Hinkle, and even research Jackson Hinkle, and then look at Nick Fuentes and research Nick Fuentes, and it's like, wow, I don't know. I put my money on Jackson Hinkle. I'll tell you what, he's more honest. He's more honest, and he's much better. He's a very talented guy, and it's like you're either born with it, like good looks like me. No, he's actually quite a handsome guy, and he's very talented as well. So I would highly recommend Jackson Hinkle, and he's gonna be at some point in time. I'll tell you what, like I said, about 26. I don't know, he might be 27 by now, but he is going to be a great big media star, and that there's going to be people out to get him. So anyway, I'll put a video with Jackson Hinkle down in the comments. I'll try to make that a big priority here. I've been watching Jackson Hinkle for many, many years. When he used to live in California, and I think he was doing a channel. He was doing his channel from his bedroom at his parents' house. And I think even before that time, he ran for Congress, and he came quite close to getting into Congress at the age of 24 or 25, or I think he was 24, or maybe just turned 25, or I'm not even sure. But he was quite young when I was watching him. And people like George Galloway and Pepe Escobar, they all see that Jackson Hinkle is a very gifted person. So anyway, I hope he's not watching this. I don't want to inflate his ego too much. So anyway, let me keep going with my big channel that YouTube really loves, and they promote all over and stick it in everybody's feed. No, I talk about too many things, and it's not getting. I think once in a while they put it into quite a few feeds, and I'm sitting there thinking, what the heck? Why am I getting 400 views and getting 10 more subscribers and all? What is all this? All in one shot from one video? And that never happens. I think probably maybe the people in charge are off that day, and then somebody that's sitting there working at Google said, hey, this is pretty good, and they just let it go. And like I said, I'm not saying I should get 20,000 views or be a Joe Rogan or Candace Owens. But anyway, you guys don't want to hear about that. Let's talk about some more news here. So obviously the delay, what was the delay about? Why Trump didn't bomb? It was because obviously they didn't have enough missiles. I already mentioned that. And I don't know if there's much more to that. A lot of cargo planes are continuing to bring more ammunition. A lot of the things that are going to Iran, getting prepared for this. There's some radars coming from, Belarus. I guess they've got good radars. And I don't know, there's been, I saw one time there was 16 planes that arrived from China, I guess military cargo planes or just cargo planes. And I'm sure that some things left from Russia, and some people, I think you're going to see these gotcha videos that, they give some kind of a thumbnail and they tell you all kinds of, I'm sick of those things. Oh yeah, Russia sent this and that, nuclear weapons. I don't know, but it's none of this stuff. But I don't know. Iran seems to believe they're ready, and it might be a readiness as what we see with the Houthi, the Ansar Allah. And Donald Trump was bombing their country to smithereens. And yet these people, they still had some launchers. Some of them, I believe, they're underground launchers. And they never gave up. There's some amazing people, Ansar Allah, the people from Yemen. And I don't know, in America, most of you, if you're watching from the United States, you're heavily brainwashed. Hey, I lived there too. And you're hearing, oh, these are evil people and this and that, and they're terrorists and all kinds of things like that. But they are actually a very highly moral people, the Ansar Allah. And yeah, very much like a lot of the Palestinian people are. And depending on who's watching this video, I used to be a bigger Trump fan. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump at all anymore. I like it when he does good things. They just came out with this bill where you have to show a proof of being American citizen before you can vote, instead of letting everybody flood in and vote for the Democrats, whether they're good or not, and sometimes voting 8 or 9 times for the same candidate, going from polling station to another. I don't know if they're going to get that taken care of. There's a big problem in the United States, but they have, they lecture everybody else in the world, say how bad they are. As a matter of fact, we talk about Venezuela. They're supposed to have had one of the very best foolproof elections, how it's done, of any country on earth. So, no. Consider that and compare it to the US, where it's apparently extremely easy to hack the elections. And we've seen it. We've all seen it. And whether you want to admit it or not, that's up to you. But we've all seen it. We've all seen how it happens in the United States. And sadly, I believe that happened in the last federal elections in Germany. And probably the winner was probably the AfD. Because right after the election, everybody said the favorite candidate is the leading candidates from the AfD. And you guys remember that was in the North Rhine-Westphalia area. Very strange thing. What was it? 7 candidates for local elections. All of them suddenly died, and all of them from the AfD. All of them within weeks of the election. Very strange, And even the AfD didn't say that much about it, which I don't understand. But I guess that's a fact. A lot of people were talking about that back then. So, are we going to get an imminent attack? Is it imminent? Imminent means very, very close. I mean, in the very near future. And I would say yes. But what is imminent in geopolitics? Is it 1 week? Or is it 3 days? Or is it 1 week? Is it 1 month? I would say probably within 2 months. And it might even be a lot sooner. Donald Trump was saying, oh, we'll see in the next month. And that almost tells you, oh, he's going to strike before that 1 month is up. Donald Trump thinks he's really tricky, but everybody now sees through Donald Trump. And they know he's tricky. He's going to pull some tricks. So I would think it's going to happen before 1 month. If it doesn't, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But when everybody knows where Iran stands in comparison to the United States and Israel, or I should say Israel and their puppet military, the United States, and it's the same with Ukraine and Russia. Everybody knows where Russia stands. They've said the same thing for months and months and months and months. So everybody knows the position of Russia. And for the most part, everybody knows the position of Ukraine. To never surrender anything. Even though you're losing, you just keep on going. And that's how they lost the entire Donbass. They could have had the Donbass. They could have kept it. But no. They wanted the Crimea as well. Even though Crimea did not want to be a part of Ukraine, and it never has. Never has, I think. Never has. Never. Even since 1954, when Khrushchev signed it over and gave it from Russia to Ukraine. And Ukraine, they try to make everybody think that it's always been a part of the Ukraine. It's not, of course. There's so much fantasy in their history and everything in Ukraine anyway. I've already gone through that many times. So the negotiations are going to fail in between United States, Israel. Well, Israel, with U.S. as being the proxy negotiators. So it's going to fail. And that's, of course, one reason why Benjamin Netanyahu, he went there to find out what his proxy negotiators are up to, how, what has happened in their little thing there. So he wanted to find out from old Donald Trump, and but he's going to call it off. I think Benjamin Netanyahu demands military. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So what is imminent? I don't know. What is imminent? And there's another word. What is it? Sounds like imminent, but anyway, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So the coordinations are done. That's probably what it was all about when the emperor came to visit his governor, Emperor Netanyahu and Governor Trump. And they have to meet together face to face, I guess, because what is probably going to happen is a very big secret. Why else would that happen? Or just, the emperor checking on his lieutenants, I guess. So they're going through what conditions? Probably what they're going to create to make it look like Iran is the initiator of that. Donald Trump is already coming out and saying things. They refuse to make a deal. Well, who's the one that's refused to make a deal? They already had a deal. That was the JCPOA. And Donald Trump, he ripped it up. He threw it away. Donald Trump is ripping up everything. And that has a lot to do with what I'm going to say. There's a new world order, and I guess everybody has proclaimed that it has now started. And I'll get to that. So anyway, it's mostly has to do with Donald Trump trying to make the entire world in his own image. God Trump, as you all know. So, and I guess, Netanyahu, as he has been elucidating, I guess, in the past month or so, the media is a great big deal to him. It's the main battleground. He said that. It's TikTok and it's X, of course. It's X today. Ecstasy next week. Drugs. No. But in any case, the media, all kinds of media, and more people, Donald Trump as well, and Netanyahu, they know that most people watch more social media than they do your CNN and your CBS and all that. And of course, that's why you see CNN and CBS and Fox all over in the social media. They're all over there too. And God, it's incredible. So that is the main battleground, and Benjamin Netanyahu said so. And of course, they want to get a story. That was a main thing. What are we going to say to the press? How are we going to frame this? As they frame everything, they got to get the talking points, and that's been going on for many, many years. You guys all know that. So they all are on the same page, and it's all going to be put out to all the stations. Why this attack has happened, and of course, I believe. Because Donald Trump, he just came out and he said, Iran refuses to negotiate. They refused last time, and that's when we brought the hammer down, the midnight hammer. We brought it down on them, and they certainly learned. But of course, Israel got the worst of it, and that's, I guess that's the big deal right now. And Iran said this time they're going to strike U.S. assets in the region. That's why the United States is moving them out of the way. Because I think Iran is tired of playing around. A lot of people are saying, Iranians, a lot of people are saying, why doesn't Iran just get a nuclear bomb and so they'll stop bugging them? They'll leave them alone. Look at what happened in North Korea. You don't even hear about North Korea anymore. Oh, Rocket Man and all this. Once they got a nuclear bomb, we got to stay away. We got to stay away. Okay. They can destroy us or they can destroy something. It's like they didn't have long-range missiles from North Korea. I don't know what they have now, but they can destroy our best allies. They can send a missile to Japan and to South Korea. And, make the whole place radioactive. So manipulation through all media is the most important battlefield to Benjamin Netanyahu. He has said that. So that is what we're going to be seeing in the very near future. And if not in the very near future, it's going to happen right after the attack. They're all going to be on the same page, and they're going to all come out in unison, just like circus seals, like the Congress. But if you don't believe it, you're some kind of a dummy. You got to believe everything that Israel tells you. I mean, think about this. Tyler Robinson, he is guilty, even though we have no evidence, and there's all sorts of things. And look at how the FBI is not doing any investigations at all into all of this undeniable evidence. No, you just have to accept it. It's Tyler Robinson did it, even though We have no evidence to say that Tyler Robinson did it. He did it. Just trust us because we say so. Jeez. The great FBI. He killed Charlie Kirk. Tyler Robinson. The E-Files. I don't know if I should say the name. So many bad, algorithms against me anyway. The Files. It's all a hoax. It's all a Democrat hoax. Yeah, I guess now we're finding out how much of a hoax that is. Hamas. Oh, you're not supposed to say that one either. A lot of people are blocking that out on social media. They killed thousands of people on that October 7th, 2020. Thousands of them. They even had helicopters and they were burning. Wait a minute. That was Israel. I mean, that was... Wait. No. I forget I said that. Apache helicopters. That's a lie. All of those burned out cars. That was Hamas. Somehow they did it. Somehow they did it. We just don't know how. Tens of thousands of people. Yes, I'm sure that the official number says less than 300, but trust us, it's over that. And it was Hamas that did it all. Oops, I said Hamas again. And Iran, they just recently killed, 20, depending on the estimates, 20,000 or 30,000 protesters, innocent protesters. Yes, Iran did that. Oh, yes. And if you don't believe that, you're some kind of a loser. You're a low IQ loser. I guess Donald Trump would say that. Low IQ. What does he say about Thomas Massie? Thomas Massie, the one who got these, was very, very instrumental. What is it? This Rohan guy from the Democrats and Thomas Massie from the Republicans. And I think actually what you got to give a lot of credit to Marjorie Taylor Greene for getting the news out there and getting people to demand it. But they got these files released. And we're seeing how much of a nothing ball that is, and a hoax and all. It's absolutely unbelievable how we're getting bullshitted. We're getting bullshitted up one side and down the other. God, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. It's I don't know. And it's all exposed. If we knew of any man in there that possibly could have molested any underage girls, we would be going after them yesterday. We know, we promise you that. Yeah. Oh, God. I tell you what, these guys, they need to get Academy Awards for acting. I cannot believe that they can, after this has all been exposed, they can still get up and say the same old crap. Absolutely fabulous. Great acting abilities. Oh, man. Yeah. But now I'm going to get to the most significant message, I guess, was put out not just yesterday. It was a 2-day thing. It was more than that. You all remember what Mark Carney said at the World Economic Forum. He was only referring to economics, basically. And he was saying it was a rupture in the world, maybe alliances or things like that and all that. And of course, it's obvious that Mark Carney is pivoting to China because Donald Trump's tariffs and all of his this and that, and the poor United States were the victims of big, bad, powerful Canada. He actually said that in one of his tweets. He said, they've been treating us so bad. The whole world they're treating us so bad. We only have the world's reserve currency that everybody is forced to use. And then we control all of the instruments such as SWIFT and the IMF and all that. But we're the victims. And who's not saying that Donald Trump is not the first Jewish president? I mean, the victims. The Israelis are the victims. Oh my God, they're the victims of everybody's picking on the Israelis and all of the Zionist Jews. Oh my God, look at how bad it is. It's absolutely incredible. Makes you wonder why the Chinese don't ever come out and say that. The people have been going after the Chinese since the 19th century. And how come the Chinese don't get out and whine and cry and all this? And they just keep friggin' on working and they keep doing better and better. Absolutely. Some of the people in the world are absolutely fantastic. They're so stupendous. Not just the Houthis and the Palestinians. You see the Chinese, the Indians, I tell you what, fabulous people, And then yet we have a lot of these, I guess maybe you call them the E. Stein class. That's what the new, I guess, definition is. These super rich billionaire people that love little girls and little boys and eating stuff that they're not supposed to, that is called cannibalism. Oh, and so much other stuff. And wet work, I guess you could call it, if you guys know what that is. Oh, that's their class of people. They tell us who is the elites and all that. But I guess a lot of that has been, that the Americas you saw during the Democrats, at least, if you're a white male, you are the scum of the earth. And it makes you really wonder, because they're not doing much of anything that good for blacks or Hispanics, or certainly not Chinese. Well, I guess I gotta Chinese are the scum of the earth, and then right, just really above that are the white males. They're the and women too. My God, why are they perpetrating all this? I don't know what the heck is going on. You got George Soros, and Alexander Soros now has taken over, and I guess this stuff is going to be staying with us a long time. And you have these rituals of Baal and all this. As a matter of fact, in Iran, they had this big thing, thousands of people come out, and they had Baal. Somebody had made this absolute piece of artwork, like a big, maybe it was wood or something. I couldn't tell what it was, but it was big. And they set fire to it and burned it. It was the Baal, I guess, that is like some ancient satanic thing. And they were burning it, because of their disgust with the West. I mean, the Western elite, not the rest of us, And some people are also saying that the American people, that the Iranians love the American people. They certainly do. I know they do. But they're not so happy with the Israeli people, because they say a lot of that society is indelibly brainwashed. And I think they might even say that to a lot of the society of the Ukrainian people too. It's absolutely unbelievable when you get these ideologies that come in there. And it's the Nazi ideology, and it's the Nazis, the Zion Nazis in Israel, and you got the Nazis, and it has zero to do with the Jews or something. They are the biggest leaders of the Nazis, the Nazis, the ones in down in the Middle East, and they're best friends with the ones with the swastikas and everything else that are in Ukraine. Like I said, don't blame all the Ukrainians either, because a lot of them, they want to get away from this stuff. And if, but it's probably not going to happen, because the West is going to make sure it'll never happen, that all of Ukraine could be liberated. There might be big groups of lots of these people in lots of places that are going to, they're not going to like that at all, but a lot of those people would be cheering if Russia would liberate them, because then they could have their independence back. But anyway, that's a thought. That's more than just my opinion. I know that that's a opinion of a lot of people, because it's the absolute truth. And I don't know what percentage of the population is one way and which is the other, but you guys all know that that's true. So, but I was going on the last 2 days, yesterday and the day before that. Yesterday, first I mentioned Mark Carney, when he mentioned that things have drastically changed. It's a rupture, he said, in the World Economic Forum. But it went a lot farther than that. Sergei Lavrov 2 days ago said that basically, because actually it was almost put in those exact words, I could almost use the words of Marco Rubio, because they are a lot more exact, but they both said the same thing. The world has drastically changed, and it is changing very fast. And again, what is fast? It could take a decade, Lavrov said, but it's not going to take a decade. It's well underway right now, and we all know that it's underway. It is a great transformation. It is a new world order, and it's not a good one. It's not a good one. But maybe we see the beginnings of a good one coming, what we would call, I guess, maybe the multipolar world. And maybe people will start to have more sovereignty. Nations will have sovereignty. You will have sovereignty over your body. Maybe you will be able to say whether you have to, get some kind of a medication. You might have the right to do that, as why I came to Belarus, because the people get the right to decide if they want to stick this thing into your body with this medications. And I rushed over here because they were trying to force it where I was at. Can't go to the supermarket unless you stick this medication in your arm. Australia, I guess some people were run down on the streets. They were tackled, and then they had this stuff stuck into their arms and things like that, whether you wanted it or not. They're trying all sorts of manipulative ways. A winter of death. that we could have had it now. It was a very cold winter, but it was, I don't know, there wasn't anything going around. It's probably going to be back. I'm sure old Billy Boy from my area, from Kirkland, Washington. He's the Gates, the Gate guy up there. I think his wife might be against all this. I'm hoping. I don't know. We need a lot of better people in the world. And after the files that came out, we find out there's a lot of evil, devilish people that care. They don't care. They don't give a crap about you or me. They care about their E. Stein people, their little clique of the super billionaires. Okay. But Marco Rubio, I thought I wrote it down, what he said, because he put it pretty good. I don't know. Maybe I didn't put quotation marks, but I don't see it. I'll find it here. So, but most of them said basically it's a new world order. I think maybe it's just the time span. And Marco Rubio said it is already here, and it is already here. And he works for the guy that's initiating the new world order, the guy that likes to tip over the apple cart and to tear up all the treaties and make them all in his image. What is he saying? The START Treaty, the new START Treaty, which was considered to be very good, and the world has been living under that, under a lot more safety and a lot more peace of mind for a long time. And Donald Trump let it expire, and he said he wants to make it better. And better is, of course, that the United States has far more advantages. That's what everything is about, so that he can bully and push everybody around. I believe he probably thinks he's going to be there forever. He's God, as we all said. So I don't know. What is his idea of a good treaty? Is where he can dominate everything. Maybe that's why there is no agreement between Ukraine and Russia. Maybe that's why it's not working between Iran and the United States and Israel. Oh, but it did work in Venezuela because he just came in there and he just kidnapped the leader. Well, that's part of the New World Order as well, isn't it? If people don't do what you tell them to do, in other words, that's the deal. The deal is you do what I tell you to do, or else, that's the deal. Oh, they don't want to make a deal. Well, yeah. Well, the deal is you do what I tell you to do. You do what I want you to do, or else. That's the deal. So, the art of the deal. Just be far more powerful and then force your opponent to do everything you want them to do. So that's what he likes to do. You got to get the cards. You don't have any cards. You don't have any leverage, boy. Zelensky still doesn't have any cards, I don't think. He's got even less cards, I think, now. The United States is kind of backing away from that. The United States saw that was a big losing game, huge losing game, that Russia is not going to... I mean, that's one thing, luckily, Donald Trump actually understands, that the Russians, they just don't give up. The only time you could possibly say they gave up is when the Germany sent their agent, and they certainly did. They sent their agent from Zurich into Russia to overthrow the monarchy with the Bolsheviks, to get rid of Alexander and to start communism there. And that was, their agent was, I don't know, partly Russian. He had a little bit of Russian in him, was Vladimir Lenin. And you see statues around about him, and nobody really likes Lenin. I'll tell you what, Lukashenko at least had the guts to move the statue from a prominent place, and he stuck it back behind something. You have it in this town squares in a lot of places in Belarus, but at least in Minsk, you don't have to, anytime you're going in any really frequented place, you don't have to see a Lenin statue. Lenin, he's a messed up guy, remember, back then? There was no set. You don't own your children. Your children belong to the state. No marriage is recognized. You had. I tell you what, if you're an Epstein type of guy, you would love it there because it was free love. Not with your little girls. I think not that. I guess maybe they wouldn't like that. That guy, their class of people wouldn't like that kind of life. But anyway, yeah. Women. There's no marriage, so you just can go around until you get an STD like Billy Boy did, and pass it on to another girl or something. Boy, that would, I don't know. You guys all know about that. I'm trying to make it so the algorithms don't, so at least some people can get my videos and something, so I can get a little bit more views. I don't know. Unless you guys do it for me, send it to somebody or whatever. So let's keep going here. So I don't know. I think Marco Rubio, he probably would think this big change is a good thing. I don't know. Maybe secretly he knows it's not a good thing, but he's the governor. He's going to be the governor of Cuba, I guess I've heard. I don't know, because I guess his ancestry or his relations are all from Cuba. Oh, and some people were thinking he was going to, be the guy in charge of Venezuela. I think he's got 5 departments he runs. So he's a pretty busy guy, Marco Rubio. In one sense, I guess maybe you could say he's doing a good job. On the other, I don't know what his where his morals lie. Anyhow, but this new world order is destabilization. Everybody is going to have to start. It's kind of like I don't know, sticking something up and throwing it and seeing which pegs fall into which holes, and you got to keep shaking it into. Everybody's got to find out where your alliances are going to lie, and I highly believe that the multipolar world is going to get away nearly unscathed. And then Donald Trump, he has vowed to destroy this multipolar world organization, and he of course is going to be going after all the individual components. He has been doing that. He's going after India and trying to say, India, get a deal with them and you don't buy any Russian oil or gas. It looks like they still are. It's going through other countries. I think it's just making a circular route. I'm almost positive that's how that has happened. I saw some article about that, and that was too soon. That was too soon after Donald Trump said that. So we'll have to wait, and maybe within 3 weeks or maybe even a month, we'll find out if that really is the case. If India really and truly is still buying Russian oil and maybe gas, liquid natural gas, I guess. China, they're going to be doing that. We all know that. China, for some reason, there's a lot of production. They need a lot of energy there. So, and the United States is actually needing more and more energy. So, anyway, Europe, they're going downhill very fast. They're paying triple. But right now, I was going to mention yesterday, the barrel price for oil is down quite a bit. It's only like, I think, $13 or $14 more than when it was before the special military operation. So it is not hurting Germany so bad, because soon after the special military operation, it really shot up. It went up to, I don't know, whatever they were paying, but they had to pay a lot, I guess, as soon as their supplies ran out, what they had from Russia. And but I don't know if that's true with gas. I think gas prices are still very high in Germany. I'm just talking oil. I said that the prices went down. So, imminent. I don't know. I would say that how imminent it is. I would say that an attack on Iran, the inevitability is 99%, and I would say that it is going to be imminent. I would say 95%, but it is definitely inevitable. I think there's no way that Benjamin Netanyahu is going to sleep peacefully at night until he can get an attack on Iran. And maybe he won't sleep peacefully then, because Iran, I hope, will make it so he doesn't sleep peacefully. And hopefully he won't be making any more decisions, I guess. I'm hoping Iran he's going to be whisked away into some secret place underground. And like I said, the whole delay right now is Israel is doing all sorts of measures they could possibly do to try to preserve as much as they possibly can. And trust me, they don't give a crap about their own people. They don't care if they're going to be dying or nothing. They're going, oh yeah, well, we got to save you all. We'll go to some shelters here and go shelter, Yeah, maybe so, but I don't know. It's not going to be. They're not going to be so concerned. Just think of the Hannibal Directive. How many Israelis did the Israeli government knock off in the Hannibal Directive? Oh, you're not supposed to say that. The algorithms are going to get me, like they always do. Anyway. So actually it was a lot of this, they're buying time. It was to manufacture lots of ammunition. The United States, of course, they've used a lot of ammunition. They gave a lot of it to Israel. They've given a lot of it, of course, and selling it to Europe to give to Ukraine or to Ukraine. And of course, they used a lot against Yemen. And the United States is now having to build up. And some people are saying they lost a huge, their stocks are down real low. I mean, what is real low, for the United States? I don't know. It's probably enough to completely really blow a country off the map, but they need a huge stockpile after that. So they're just rebuilding as well, and so is Israel, and they're getting a lot from the United States. That's what all these ships or these airplanes, these hundreds of deliveries have been going to Israel, with American airplanes and things. A lot of things coming from Great Britain. Great Britain is going big into the area as well, so they're sending in a lot of assets to. You have to, like I said, watch that video with Jackson Hinkle, and he's very good. He's a lot better than me. He's a lot more interesting to listen to. Unfortunately, that's the case. He's not as good looking, but no. Anyway, watch his video. It's really good. Jackson Hinkle's amazing. So they're just trying to get so much power. And I think, like what I was saying, they want decapitation. They want to get rid of the government. They don't want to, and if they can't do that, if they can't get Khomeini right now, they have spy assets and all sorts of people going all over, and they're watching. They got lots of spies infiltrating, getting in here. Israel is the master of that, pay big money to get people to spy for them. Like I said, they're the superpower of influence, manipulation, and all, and they certainly are. But that is going on right now, and if they cannot eliminate Khomeini, they are going to just try to do so vast destruction on Iran that Iran is not going to recover for decades. That's what's going to happen. So you're going to see one of those two. And when that happens, don't say, hey, I have a crystal ball. And peace negotiations, that's nothing but a delay tactic. That's all that is. They know exactly what Iran demands, just like they know exactly what Russia demands. And they're staying firm. It's basically, these people, the Russians and the Iranians, they're backed up to the wall. And they say, this is it. We gave everything we possibly can. We're not giving any more. We have a right to do this, and we're going to demand this, and we're going to stay on that. We're never going to give that up. We're going to continue. And they know that. Oh, so let's keep on the negotiations, Yeah. So the New World Order. Remember, when was the last one? The first one was declared back on September 11th, 1991 by George Bush Sr. I don't know if that was before or after he was getting off with little boys, according to the Epstein files. You don't know. I don't know either. So, but Massa wants hegemony. I don't know which Massa. I guess it's both Massas. They have this theory, and I should have paid more attention. I should have taken some notes on that actually the center of, when all of the dust settles, when all of this stuff is gone, they say that the world will be ruled through Israel, from Israel. I don't know who, I have no idea, but from Israel, that Israel will be the world's capital. That's what some of these sicko people, I guess, are trying to say. In other words, no multipolar world. And who will be the muscle? Whoever runs the United States, and they'll be using the muscle against the people of the United States too, in case you don't know. So, but I think the strike, first, they're trying to get rid of a lot of these lower BRICS people, especially. Of course, Trump thinks he's got India on the ropes to a large extent, and of course maybe Brazil, unfortunately, and South Africa. These countries are still, those two, Brazil and South Africa, sort of the main founders of BRICS. Of course, they're the kind of weaker link, unfortunately, and hopefully they can hold out. And but once they start getting rid of some of these people that support the major BRICS countries, and of course, right before they're going to try to go for Russia, I believe, this is my theory, they're going to try to take out Belarus, of course. And that lets you know that it's not that far away, because Russia is not going to stand for anything against happening to Belarus. Thank God for that. And, because I don't want to, sit here watching bombs fall. And I'll tell you what, there's targets very, very close to me, and I don't want to hear it. I want to sleep. I don't want to hear these bombs going off. And, yeah. So, but that's going to be a few years away. Of course, the European Union keeps bragging that, they're going to go after Russia. And, obviously now they're say they're going to start, I guess it's going to be, Belarus is going to go immediately before Russia, because that's going to be like it was in World War II, the stomping grounds. They went on June 22nd, 1941, they attacked Brest Fortress. And then soon after that, they were just marching right through Belarus. They were in Minsk in days. And then the attack on Moscow, and it's actually, when you look through history, attacks have often occurred the exact same way. So, Brest has been attacked who knows how many times. Makes you wonder what you can find with a metal detector maybe down there. I don't know if everything's probably corroded or stuff like that. Anyway. And the big question is what is this? The final dessert would be China, of course. And I guess long before that, and you see China is already starting to build up. And China, they're making a big mistake if they think they're going to go against China. China, I was telling you about all these amazing people like the Houthis and the Palestinians and I said the Chinese, Yeah, I did. I guess I already mentioned them as being amazing. And, what was it? Was it Marco Polo that said, or was it Napoleon? I think it was Marco Polo. Beware of China. She is a sleeping giant, and someday she shall awaken. And I think maybe they're getting woken up right now. And Russia, they had a description of Russia. A lot of people said, I think the Russians have this description. It takes the Russians a long time to get in the saddle, but once they get in the saddle, they ride long and they ride hard. And that's what's going on right now. So they're riding hard at the moment. So I think Donald Trump kind of understands that, I was saying, and he knows, let's get away from Russia. We don't really want to get into something like that. You'd have to really, really weaken Russia very, very, very much before that. The right time was probably right after Yeltsin, and they didn't go for a military attack, So it's too late now. But the New World Order, what's part of that? Part of it is you can kidnap leaders from democratically elected countries under false pretenses. Just say they have drugs or they're torturing their women or anything like that. So, you can either kidnap the leader or just start a war. So anything. You just need some false pretenses, and that's what's going to happen to Iran any time now. Oh, they killed all those protesters. 30,000 of them. Yeah, right. What was the funerals? Did you catch that on the funerals on the satellite? Where are these? There wasn't a lot of people, in the cemeteries, but I don't know. Did you have that? Or I don't know. But anyway, and then they're going to come. The United States wants something. It's not all going to be just for Israel. And Israel wants free reign, and they want to take, their Eretz Israel and probably make it much bigger than what the original plans are. And of course, Israel, what is their ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is they're going to destroy the United States if they haven't already. They said it's much cheaper to buy a politician than it is to buy a tank. And you all see what they're doing it right now. Oh, yeah. And then, with all the circus seals with Benjamin Netanyahu. Jeez. Yeah. So, if you don't want to give up your sovereignty, then you're going to expect old Donald's going to come after you. And he's the guy, I get the job done. I don't pussyfoot around. I'm not Biden. Takes Biden, sleepy Joe because he's asleep. He's not going to... I'm going to go right out and bomb, Oh, yeah, Rubio, that was his words. Said the old world order is gone. And he said some things kind of all related to that. But that was his words. The old world order is gone. Yeah. And now we are ruled by the pedophiles. The globalist pedophile, the Stein guys, grouping. Wow. So many of them. And I tell you what, seeing some of this stuff, I don't know if I should mention so much. I already mentioned this stuff. Really, really terrible stuff. And Congress people are coming in and they are saying that they just cannot believe, the depredation of some of these rich, powerful men. And there's even women in there. I guess that what she was up in it up to, and she admitted to, she had resigned. She was the top lawyer from Goldman Sachs. And Goldman Sachs, they're into the really nasty stuff as well. They're into the overthrowing of governments and all sorts of things. They're the ones that were laundering all the money from the stolen assets, what they were stealing from Syria, and piping it into Turkey, stealing assets. Yeah, they're the ones that are basically laundering all of that stuff. I guess in every major meeting, I don't know if it's under Trump, but at least before that, any big cabinet meetings, there's a representative always from Goldman Sachs there. Wow. Yeah. So, but anyway, you see how they can manipulate these people, I mean, you say, oh, and there was one thing in these files as well, which I don't want to say the name of the guy that's, who I'm talking about, but in those files, it was kind of a note that said, and they had tapes, and they even sent copies of all of the tapes of the activities that they were doing with young girls and things, because it was all, on videotapes, and it was a thing to send some huge amount of money. I don't know how many millions of dollars. It's just some millions. So it's not some big super billionaire, but I guess it's somebody wanted. I think he wanted Bitcoin. He wanted Bitcoin, and they said you put it onto this account and all this sort of a deal, or else these videos will be released or something like that. In other words, it was I don't know. It's also, you could say, maybe even a dead man's switch, that if something happens to that, this is going to all be exposed to the public, about some very prominent person, apparently. Wow. So they have these blackmail kind of notes in the files as well. Wow. So they control politicians. If you control the business people control the politicians, because the business people give the politicians the money to run for their offices. And they said, you do this to the politician, or else I'm not going to be donating, or I'm going to only do this much, or this blah. But if you do this, then I will donate that much. So I tell you, the system in the West is really terrible. They don't have that over here. They don't have this. And that's one reason why everybody, lives in relief in these countries over here. And you don't see these people that are pushing you around so much. And I tell you, one good thing about Lukashenko, and some people might say that he's not such a nice guy and this and that and the other thing or whatever, but he protects the people of Belarus. So if things were happening like this to Belarusian people, you would experience the wrath of Alexander Lukashenko. So you don't pull this stuff on normal people, Great guy. So, okay. So, yeah, we all see what the Western society is like now. And in my opinion, no one or nothing can stop that. It's too much into the works in the West, and there is no recovering from that. And I didn't actually flee from the West for those reasons, but I tell you, now that I'm looking at all of this stuff, and you're going to lose if you're just a regular old average Joe, Plumber Joe, or whatever I don't know. You're a regular old peon, useless eater, I mean, you are taking a risk, of something happening. They just have to keep enough of us useless eaters happy or fooled so that we don't rebel against them. And then, of course, they have the military and they have the heavily armed police and everything that are going to be on their side. And as I said matter of fact, I did a video yesterday. I didn't upload it, but I probably was going to say in that video that the purpose of the police is to protect the elites of the government, and that is their purpose. It's not to protect and to serve the people like you think it is, like they tell you it is. They have to do only so much so that the people don't rebel against the big, powerful politicians. So that's part of the game right there. But if there's ever, and you can see it in some countries, some people really trying to, if the police do not go on your side, they did that in the Russian Revolution in 1917. They took the side of the people, and they were manipulated, but they supported, unfortunately, the Bolsheviks. So that was a huge game of manipulation as well, and that took power of Russia. And it's not necessarily that the monarchy was so much on the side of the people, but they were not any more against the people than what the people thought that the Bolsheviks were for. And they found out that the Bolsheviks were actually probably worse, much worse than the monarchy. Just saying. And what else here? Yeah. So this class of people, think about the degradation, degradation of society, morals. They're gone. They don't have any morals. So it's being imprinted upon the society as well. Crime runs rampant in so many places in the West. People don't have freedom. It's like trying to stick this in your arm. No. They're going to make you do that. That's one reason I had to get out of the West myself. And you get as much prosperity as they're going to allow you to have. They have this system called taxation in their, I don't know, freedom, man, prosperity, yeah. So, yeah. So the battle is between, you can take the one side, and it's the becoming the slaves of the U.S. Israeli empire. The emperor just came, like I said, to Washington, D.C. The U.S. Israeli empire, and I don't think it matters if you get a Joe Biden in there or a Trump. In some way or form, things are going to be happening. Maybe they give a little bit. You can push the LGBT. If you're this party and this party, you can push the ICE people to get, I don't know. So at least the emperor gives them a little bit of leeway. But of course, you have to support Israel. That is a must. That is the prerogative. That is goal number one of the super governing elites in America, as well as the rich class. Yeah. That's just even one perspective that I'm putting out. It's probably very accurate. I would think, I don't know, it depends on, I'm asking you. In my opinion, it's very accurate, else I wouldn't have said it. But I would think a lot of you must see that there's a lot of accuracy in there too. So hopefully we'll have a brotherhood of nations where people have their sovereignty and the nations have their sovereignty, and I don't know, when is that going to happen? Hopefully I'll see that in my lifetime, when the multipolar world comes into play here. Yeah. And this other part, I was actually going to say, like Donald Trump, you see him going up in front of the press trying to bullshit everybody and saying, it depends on what I ran, if they're going to make a deal or not. Yeah. So, no negotiations. Anyway, other news, the big news was actually that the new world order is here. And I think I would actually go with Marco Rubio's words when he says that it is here. And Donald Trump has pretty much destroyed anything. I mean, who else can take the entirety of the biggest island in the world, Greenland? I mean, he thinks he's going to do that. I don't know. Do you think that, the little European states are going to do anything about it? Like Vladimir Putin said, soon all of them will be setting before Donald Trump with their tails wagging, and maybe and Donald Trump will go and have his tail wagging in front of Benjamin Netanyahu. They're sort of like partners, but anyway, the junior partner is obviously Donald Trump at the moment, and makes you wonder, I don't know, any president, they just act like they have some kind of power, and they, the big powers and the power of influencer, because he can ruin your life. He has the people, and he's got the plants. He's got them all over the place, not just all throughout Congress. He's got them probably within the White House and the staff and everything. Wow. So, anyway, there was seems to be a race between the UK and Germany to see who can send the most money to Ukraine. And I think Healy, the what is it called? The chief defense chief or minister of defense in the UK. I think he just recently, by the government, of course, through Keir Starmer, they're signing over $35 billion, I believe. I don't think it's British pounds. And Germany keeps sending money here and there and everywhere, and now, sending a lot. I think this time they sent a lot of equipment. And like I mentioned already, Rheinmetall, their value has gone up 7,000% since January, 1 month before the special military operation of 2022. Since January 2022, their stock has gone well over 7,000% up. So the military industrial complex is really booming in Germany, and that is, and because it makes you wonder why, how can Germany be surviving when they cut off their energy supply and all of these one mistake after the other, getting rid of nuclear power, all this. How can they possibly do it when energy is extremely expensive there? And I guess they're making their money through the military industrial complex. So that's what keeping the government and everything going. I don't know about the people. Fiat currency, the euro, Germany controls it more than any country. So, yeah. And I guess it's the fastest growing firm in Germany. It's now number 6th largest corporation, Rheinmetall. Yeah. And I guess it's kind of some kind of good news. Maybe, because I don't know all the contingencies about it, but the United States is going to allow like cooking gas. I'm presuming that's propane. They're gonna allow propane into Cuba, and I think kerosene, for lamps. I believe so, because they don't have maybe electricity so much anymore. But anyway, as you know, they're all starving. They're starving out Cuba, and I guess the stuff that they're sending is probably to make the United States look like they're so generous, and maybe the whole idea is to get the people to overthrow the government of Cuba, and so that they will welcome the United States in, and maybe act like circus seals as well. I have not a friggin' idea. But it's all just a big game of charades anyway, what the whole stuff goes on. We're all getting fooled anyway. It's difficult. I guess the whole thing is we all have to start thinking for ourselves and start looking at trends and what things have happened before. And as Jesus once said, he said, there's nothing new under the sun. So if you're seeing some of these ploys and things that are happening to all of us on earth, it's happened before. And that's what Jesus' message is, in my opinion. So that's it, everybody. I hope you all enjoy this one. Looks like it's, again, a little bit over an hour. I hope you all watch it. And tell you what, subscribe and push the like button. You all forget to push the like button a lot of the time. At least half of you do, I notice. I don't know. But what way is there to make YouTube actually put my videos into other people's feeds? I don't know. I guess I got all these algorithm words and things that I'm not supposed to be using. I don't know. I probably could do some different type of video. I was gonna do fart videos. When you get this toy and you sounds like I think they're funny. I watch those already on the internet. Anyway. Anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you the next time. Bye bye.